and welcome to JCPS Digital Learning Live. I'm Leanne Datillo. I am a digital innovation leader for the middle schools here in Jefferson County Public Schools. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Elaine Abanatha, who is also a digital innovation leader for JCPS. And the star of our show today is Ms. Amy Strite from Barret Middle School. And Amy's going to be sharing with us Barret's Exemplar student backpack defense process. And so we're anxious to hear everything she has to say. How's everybody today?
Doing great.
Great. Elaine is going to be running the control room today, and we'll be taking questions from the YouTube chat. So make sure if you're watching us live that you drop in there and introduce yourself. Let us know what school or district office you are checking in from. If you don't have the chat capability, make sure that you log into YouTube, and while you're there, check the subscribe button too so that you can continue learning with us in later shows. All right. With that said, take it away, Amy.
Thanks so much, Leanne. Thank you both for having me here today. It's exciting. I watch these videos all the time and part of the process. And so today I'm here to talk just a little bit about what we've learned about student defenses. It's a new one here in the district. It's been really, really exciting this year as we've sort of tried new things. And I want to just share a little bit about what we've learned. And as we talk through it, we are still learning even now. I just left a meeting a little bit ago where we're continuing to refine our processes. So starting off with our processes themselves, we purposely made student preparation the biggest out of that graphic because we know that teacher prep has been important to our work. Student prep has been the single most important part of our work. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. And then logistics, and then the panelists themselves that serve on the defenses are other important components. So starting off, just kind of thinking about how we spend our time for teacher prep, we started off the year with a backpack institute for our teachers to try to launch this important work, to launch into the instructional shifts, the ways that we would be talking to students about that. So we started off actually with 3 days of backpack PD. We did them two of them right at the end of the school year, just as soon as school wrapped up, just 2 more days of work together as a staff. And then 1 day as we came back together in August. So I know a lot of instructional coaches and other leaders in the building right now are kind of looking forward to what we're going to work on heading into spring and summer in these next few months. Those backpack workshops were really, really helpful for us, and those resources for anyone who is interested in them on the link for the Summer Institutes, all of the resources that we used are all still there. We maintain those archives. So if there's anything that's useful, you can see all the way back to when we were starting to try to define our own graduate learning profile before the district launched backpack skills. So some of the stuff may be more useful than others, but that's sort of our history of our process there. So we started off with those Backpack Institute days together as a staff and decided that we had so much new that we wanted to share with students that we would actually launch monthly advisory groups. And so that advisory lesson link has all of the lesson plans that we used, both the teacher lessons and the student sheets, because we really wanted to try to develop a common language across the school. When we say these things, what do they mean? Trying to get kids more comfortable with the backpack skills. And what we really found was that teachers and students, we were all learning together as we're working through the lessons. This is new for the teachers, it's new for the students. And so it was neat to have this common learning experience for everyone. Lessons each had a different focus, from the very, very beginning of just sort of introducing what is a backpack skill, all the way up to what is a defense? How do we prepare for a defense? And also one thing that we found, Dr. Coleman had actually suggested at one of the trainings, and we took to heart, that we really had to work on teaching explicitly public speaking skills for the students, like specific lessons on public speaking skills. So there's an advisory lesson just for that. So we decided to have the monthly advisory groups. All of that falls still under the prep that we started long ago to get ready for the defenses. Of course, teachers kept working in PLCs. We worked on faculty meetings, we worked on gold days, all leading up to a lead facilitator training. So basically, when we talk about defenses at Barret, we always want to have a Barret staff member, either a teacher or a member of the admin team, somebody on staff on every panel to try to lend some context to the panel. And if anybody has questions, they can say, oh, I know this student, and give some context to the kids' work. So we have made our Barret staff members the lead facilitators. And so we had a lead facilitator training at one of the PLCs where we walked through the process of what a defense would look like. We watched a video. We kind of did some calibration. And that was a really, really important exercise that we learned a lot from, because when we watched the video of the students practice defense and had everyone score, we found that there was a lot of variation. We really had some calibration to do in terms of what one person would score and what another person would score. So that was really, really valuable. And then finally, in terms of teacher prep, one of the pieces that we're still working really, really hard for is that we want every single teacher in the building to get the opportunity to attend at least one defense. And, they are occurring during the day. And of course, school is still occurring all day long. So the teachers are busy. So being creative in how we, cover people to try to make sure every teacher gets to see a defense is something we're really working hard on, because the biggest surprise for us really has been how impactful defenses are for us in terms of shifting instruction. We've worked hard as a staff all year on getting ready, giving students opportunities for backpack-worthy, to create backpack-worthy products and having those rich experiences. But when a teacher sits in front of a defense and watches the defense and sees how the student reflects on that learning, that has been just magical for us. To have a teacher come out of the defense and say, oh, that was good work, but if I had changed, next time I do it, I'm going to change X and Y because that will make it stronger backpack work. That's been a really, we didn't anticipate that benefit, but it's been a really rich benefit from defenses so far. So looking ahead at the next slide for student prep, this has probably been most important component in terms of the end result of our defenses, how we work with our students. So really we start a new cohort of students every 2 weeks. We have decided to do our defenses every other Friday. We started in January and it's every other Friday. So every 2 weeks, we're starting a new cohort of kiddos, and we meet with them briefly on that very first Monday. That's 2 weeks prior to their defense. Obviously, they had the same prep opportunities in terms of they did all the advisory lessons. They've been working all year in their classes. But when it's finally time for their defenses, we meet with them 2 weeks out, let them know, it's time to go. Here's our process. Make sure everyone's really comfortable working in Google Slides and collaborating with Google tools, because that's our primary mechanism for working with them. And then we have after-school workshops that are actually led. So I facilitate the after-school workshops 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. And they're actually led by students who have already successfully defended. So we're really working hard to build up the peer mentorship components. And the students that have already defended successfully are so excited to come back and work with small groups of their peers and help them practice and give them feedback. And we let them use the scoring guide to provide feedback to each other. And that has just been really great to watch. It's been great to see the kids helping each other, something that they can actually put in their backpack that, to reflect on their work as peer leaders.
Absolutely. Amy, I have a question for you. Have you seen any correlation between the students who defended early and are coming back and helping you with the workshops? Are they also part of your backpack team?
So some of them are. Some of them are part of our backpack team. Our backpack team is super helpful. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you asked about them. So I also run an open lab. Someone from the backpack team is almost always in there helping kids with the tech components, helping them hyperlink, helping them learn how to insert a video. So they are a really critical part as well. And then some of them also serve as peer mentors in the after-school workshops. So thanks for mentioning them. We have the after-school workshops. We do a ton of work in Google Slides in terms of collaborating that way. Students have to submit their Google Slides by the first Thursday of their 2-week period. And so we're constantly going back and forth with commenting and making those suggestions and helping them refine their presentations. And then one thing we added actually was the link for monitoring student progress. We found that we needed a better way to track where students were in their journey, in their preparation. So the link there for monitoring student progress shows our response to that. So looking at that, you can see it's just a Google sheet. We put the names in the first column for who's getting ready to present. And then as we're working with them, because we have different staff members that are part of our defense team, as we work with them, we are constantly updating their status there. And you can see that's just a conditionally formatted column. And I think that this would probably be a good time to talk about how important it is to have a really strong defense core team. We have at our school primarily 3 people that help with the preparations. Myself, our transition teacher, Danny Edelin, and our 8th grade counselor, Lisa Kimbrell, are sort of the core people that students are going to work with during the school day to help get prepared, commenting on their slideshows in the evenings. And that's really, really critical, depending on how large the student body is. For us, 3 people is, I would love to have a 4th. But 3 gets it done. And then, of course, our whole admin team is a part of the defense team on Fridays, as well as lots and lots of teachers. But everyone that's on that core team updates that monitoring student progress document so that we can make sure we're all on, we're all ready to go for Friday. The goal is to get everybody to green by Friday, which means they have turned in their slideshow, it's ready to go, it's been reviewed, and we have seen a dress rehearsal and provided some feedback. So every kiddo is going to have at least one dress rehearsal with somebody, somewhere, before they walk into the defense room that day. So it's a good amount of student prep to get them ready. And of course, the whole time that they're preparing, they're also going back to talk to their teachers about their artifacts, make sure that they're clear on the standards that they were working towards when they were doing that learning. So the teachers are helping a lot with that as well. For the overall logistics, kind of starting at the very beginning of the year, I created a time task calendar to sort of help me organize. It's a big process. That time task calendar goes all the way back to the beginning of the year, sort of the pieces and nuts and bolts, and I'm sure we'll revise that for next year, but sort of all the steps along the way to get ready. That's available for anyone. I have a folder that I'll share at the end. We chose, in terms of logistics, in terms of recruiting, community support, family support, district support, we chose to use, there's a Sign Up Genius that we send out, and that is just we have one for students and one for panelists. So the students actually chose their own time and date when they wanted to defend. And we had Chromebooks set up in the cafeteria at lunchtime. So when they would go to 8th grade lunch, they could go in, register for their time, and that way everyone had access. And so that's how we managed scheduling the students and scheduling the panelists. We used Twitter. We sent out emails containing the sign-up link via school messenger. So there were lots of ways we tried to publicize it, and we were just really overwhelmed with the support from our families, from community members, people that aren't even associated with JCPS. We had some local businesses who decided, okay, on this date, we're going to send people from our business to help support, and we had a lot of wonderful district support as well. So it's been great having so many people that aren't normally here at Barret joining us to see the kids reflect on their work. That's been wonderful. And Sign Up Genius also has some nice sorting and reporting features as well. So I'm able to export lists of email addresses so that I can contact panelists for that specific day, that kind of thing. And it's free. The next link is scheduling. So I know different folks are doing things different ways. We run 5 rooms simultaneously, and that's worked great for us. And so I just update that schedule with new kiddos every time. We currently, for middle school, and I think it would probably be different. I know a high school defense might need a larger time slot. For middle school, we're finding that a 15-minute time slot works well for us. It's a crisp schedule, but it does work well for us. So you can, if you see on the schedule on that link, brief panelist training, and then we have 7 students, but we build a break-in the middle. That way, if things are running behind, we're able to have a little buffer in there if things start running a little bit behind. And we always end them by 1:45, and that way if things get really, really out of hand behind, no one's in danger of missing their bus at 2:20 or anything like that. So we do build in those breaks, and we do find that the 15-minute scoring guide gives them enough time to come in. Their defense is 5 to 7 minutes. The panel has some time to discuss, and then they come right back in to receive their feedback right away. And again, there's a lot of prep in terms of logistics. So there's a to-do list there that we use for every single week. We have the to-do list, and you can see actually the ones that are, that's a live document that I use every week. And so you can see as I get finished, I highlight them, and then the next week I'll just start all over. But that's sort of a before, during, and after list of things that we work through every week that's been helpful for us. Everything from, a lot of it is, who do you need to communicate with? Who needs to know these things? Whose rooms are you using? All the little nitty-gritty logistics that play into it. And then we have a lead facilitator training. I provide the lead facilitator with talking points to help as they go into the room. They've all these community members, and some people are from education, some people are not. And so we do a quick 15-minute training. We actually, one of the things we just recently changed, this is twice now I have been filmed when I work very hard never to be filmed. Because we actually found that we wanted to standardize the training experience more from room to room, because we have those 5 rooms running at the same time. And we wanted to make sure that everyone understood the scoring guide to mean exactly the same thing for equity and to make the rooms equitable. And so we actually created a YouTube video that we play now as the, it's a welcome to Barret. Let me explain the scoring guide. That way everyone gets the same experience. And then we still provide the lead facilitators with the talking points. So on the video, I kind of walk through that scoring guide to make sure when we say artifact or when we say quality, what are we really measuring for the students to make sure that everyone understands. That's that calibration video with the scoring guide. Looking ahead at resources for the big day. On the day of, we actually give the kids little appointment cards that you can see on that link. And we fill those out. They receive them in first period. That way they know what time to show up. Different schools do it different ways. Right now we have them pick up Chromebooks and get logged in. We found that they were spending a lot of time getting logged in. Once they were in the room, it was kind of just an awkward silence. So now we have them pick up Chromebooks and get logged in and walk in already logged in and ready to go. We have purchased clickers so that the students can control their own slideshows, just to give them a little more autonomy over the presentation. So those are some changes that we've made. Oh, and there's a panelist welcome packet resources that we hand all the panelists as soon as they come in. And that just helps them be oriented, find the room number. There's a QR code at the bottom that they can scan with their phone camera to give us that takes them to a survey, a Google form actually, for feedback for us. And that's really helped us so much to refine our processes. And all of these documents are public and available. So when they enter the room, the panelists get that brief 15-minute training. They get the little video. They hear from the lead panelists. We want to make sure everyone feels really welcome and really comfortable and well-equipped, especially for our guests that are not from education. This can feel really foreign. So we've worked hard to make sure that everyone feels that the process is user-friendly And our feedback has gotten better and better as we've made shifts and changes. So that's something we've focused on a lot this year. And then the scoring guide, we actually did make a change to the scoring guide even in the middle of this year. It didn't really change substantively what the kids were being scored on, but it changed how it made it more clear in terms of how the panelists were interpreting it. So for the artifact and quality pieces, we are looking at the artifact is 1 point if they have the artifact, but 2 points if they have it with a link where we can see more about it, or a photo or graphic, something to give us more information about it. And then the quality is not the quality of the artifact itself, because we know that teachers have already reviewed all of that work. It's the quality of their explanation. Yes, the quality of their presentation. How clearly are they able to make a connection? They get 1 point if they can clearly articulate their connection to a backpack skill, one or more backpack skill. But the second point is how clearly are they able to articulate a connection between their artifact and their learning of the standards. So we're really working hard to, our biggest area of growth is making sure that kids are really able to reflect deeply on the content that they were working towards mastery of through that artifact. So those are some shifts we've made along the way. And on the second page of the scoring guide, you can see the points. And the most important thing about the points is that failure is not one of the options. Their options are to pass with distinction, or resubmit. And so there is no fail. There is keep persevering and building up that resilience to resubmit and try again. And for our students who have had to resubmit and try again, the victory is just that much greater and that much sweeter to, really push and see what they're capable of. And that's been a really positive experience for those students. We also, in terms of rewards and celebrations, when they successfully defend, here at Barret, magnets on your locker, like badges, are a really big deal. And so we have different milestones and different things kids can earn. And so getting a magnet for your locker is a big deal. And so we actually had the advanced art class had a design competition to design the magnets for defenses, and then the students voted in the cafeteria and they chose the winner. And we actually had materials production create those magnets from the student artwork for us. And so now the kids get a magnet and it has their name and their locker number. Our early defenders also got a special, because that it took a lot for kids to be willing to be the very first kids ever to try this out. So our January and February defenders got a special luncheon, and then all students who defend get the magnets. And it also will say our amazing art teacher writes in fancy calligraphy with Sharpie on there. So she'll write their name and she'll write distinction if they pass with distinction. So our hallway, as we've progressed, the magnets are filling up the lockers and the hallways, and it's really fun to watch all of them earn their magnets. And they find out right away. For our process, they do their defense, they sit out in the hallway in a chair outside the door while they're waiting for the panel to reach their decision. And then they come back in and find out right away in person their results. And it is so exciting on a Defense Friday to see kids coming out of the hallway and I passed, and congratulating each other. And then my very favorite thing is when they walk back into their classrooms, because the classes are still in session. Here you can tell, like, they're walking into a classroom and everybody's waiting to hear how they did, and they say I passed, and then the whole class just goes crazy cheering for them. It's just very exciting. So Defense Fridays are really exciting around here. And the very last slide is a link where you can access a folder that is open and available. All the documents that we use are readily available for anyone to make a copy of and adapt in any way that you like. And also my email address if there's anything that I can do to be helpful. And that is a summary of our defense process. We've had a lot of fun working on it this year. It's been really great.
Thank you so much, Amy, for all of that fantastic information. You guys have worked so hard, and your hard work is obviously paying off for you and your students, but so many other schools are going to benefit from you being willing to share this information and all of the resources that you have collated and created. So thank you on behalf of everyone who's going to use that work to help them move their students along. That's going to be really, really helpful for a lot of people. So fantastic show today. Thank you so much, Amy, for joining us. And Elaine, can you share how people can stay connected to the JCPS digital learning work?
Absolutely. And thank you again, Amy, for all that wonderful. Teaching is definitely a team sport, and I appreciate you sharing everything that your school and you have done. So thank you. And I'm super excited to get to sign up for one of those defenses. So I'll be looking for that. Yes, yes, yes. So if you're wanting to stay connected with JCPS Digital Learning, you can follow us on YouTube, and that is jcpsdigitallearning.com. And while you're there, go ahead and click that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter with the hashtags JCPS Digital Learning, as well as the hashtag Power of Pause and the hashtag JCPS Backpack. So we have a show that is going to be on Thursday, and I'm going to let Leanne talk to you about that.
So as Elaine was leading up to, the next show on JCPS Digital Learning Live is March 21st. That's this Thursday, 11 a.m. if you're watching live, or you can always watch later with the Power of Pause. The next show that goes live is with the ESL Newcomer Academy. ESL Newcomer Strategies presenting 5th grade defenses.